Woke Joy Reid show gets canceled, and the woke mainstream media responds by blaming it on racism. Rachel Maddow goes on unhinged rant, attacks her own network, suggests MSNBC is racist for ousting two non-white hosts after Joy Reid's show gets canceled. Well, maybe they should just fire her next to prove a point. As a response, Joy Reid sobbed as she addressed being fired from MSNBC.
My show had value, and that that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I try not to cry on TV. And I say this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
Number one, your show had value. Well, if your show had value at all, MSNBC wouldn't have tanked you. Number two, now all of a sudden you're a so-called church girl after nearly 5 years of anti-Christian bigotry and hatred on your low-rating show that nobody watched. The most viral clips you ever got were of your hatred against Christians, and particularly white Christians. Now all of a sudden you're a church girl that thinks that what you're doing is of God? Give me a break. Just get out of here already. As a reaction, on Monday evening, Joy Reid's disgruntled colleague, Rachel Maddow, went on a 4-minute unhinged rant against MSNBC for canceling the ReidOut. Maddow suggested MSNBC is racist for ousting two non-white hosts in prime time, and aired out the company's dirty laundry as she revealed that producers are next to be laid off.
Joy Reid's show, The ReidOut, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it.
Well, Joy Reid is being replaced by 3 hosts, and one of them is another woke Black woman. So she doesn't even make any sense.
The people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. Maybe all of our folks, including most of the people who are getting this very show on the air right now, maybe they will all get new jobs here, and I hope they do. But in the meantime, being put in this kind of limbo, the anxiety and the discombobulation is off the charts.
Welcome to the real world, DEI hires. You don't produce results. You don't deliver results. You're done. You lose your job. That's how the real world works. The meltdown continued. Ex-MSNBC host Keith Olbermann accuses network of racist purge after firing Joy Reid. The former MSNBC host Keith Olbermann is the latest to weigh in on the network's decision to fire fellow wacko Joy Reid as executives attempt to salvage their cratering viewership. Keith Olbermann posted on X, "It is such a confused, brutal, racist purge at MSNBC. It's like they're being run by Elon Musk."
I'm Keith Olbermann. The racist purge has escalated at MSNBC. We told you this morning about Joy Reid getting fired and no pretense being made about why it was done, but to do it all in a span of one day reeks of we don't care if you think we are racist. Fire all the minorities around the place, and you are signaling to the viewers that you do not care about diversity of opinion in a time in which the word diversity is suddenly like the word communist was in the 1950s.
You know, MSNBC deserves this. They created this monster. They embraced this monster. They funded this monster. They tolerated this monster. This monster is the reason why their ratings are crashing. Therefore, they're losing money. You don't have good ratings, you're not making money. That's how it works. Turns out when you go woke, you go broke. And not only that, when you go woke, there's no turning back. It's a cult. They'll retaliate on you. The moment you defy the cult, the moment you defy the hive mind, the cult and the hive mind will all turn on you and accuse you of the very thing you claimed you were standing against with them. That's how the woke cult works. So enjoy it, MSNBC. Not only is MSNBC having problems, but ABC is as well. Low morale at ABC's The View, as executives urge panelists to tone down their anti-Trump rhetoric. Liberal programmers are having a hard time since Trump took office for the second time, and ABC's The View is no exception. According to a report from the New York Post, the show's panelists, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Anna Navarro, Whoopi Goldberg, and Alyssa Farah Griffin, were urged by producers to dial back some of their anti-Trump rhetoric. The report states, the fiery hosts at ABC News, The View, have faced pressure to dial back their anti-President Trump rhetoric, leading to tension in front of the cameras, the Post has learned. While behind the scenes, morale is low among staffers after layoffs and unpopular cost-cutting moves. One source close to the show's co-hosts said the fear and loathing is partly because Brian Teta, executive producer of the daytime Gabfest, spoke to staffers about going easy on Trump-related commentary in the days leading up to the 47th president taking the oath of office. The directive followed an embarrassing moment in November when the co-hosts were forced to issue 4 legal notes or disclaimers during a broadcast while discussing allegations leveled at several of Trump's cabinet nominees.
Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism, that DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
Compounding the situation is the fact that executive producer Brian Teta recently laid off 9 of the show's staffers. While many employees are expecting further cuts down the line as ABC's parent company Disney seeks to turn its financial situation around, people were shocked that he'd fire such experienced, well-respected producers. The source was quoted as saying, morale is low. I'm going to be completely honest here. I can't name a single person that I know that's close to me or in proximity or an acquaintance that watches The View casually, daily, or as a fan and tunes into The View for a hot take to see where we're at in America. I can't name a single person. How do they even have ratings? There's got to be something there. Speaking of woke morons, Daily Show host Jon Stewart cuts hand after smashing coffee cup during Doge rant. Daily Show host Jon Stewart horrified his audience after cutting his hand during his opening monologue. Stewart cut his hand after smashing his coffee mug on his desk while ranting about the Department of Government Efficiency. After realizing he cut his hand, he shared, "I might be going to the hospital soon."
Ooh!
Oh, can it be? The companies we subsidize with billions of dollars are allowing us the privilege to negotiate the price of 10 of their drugs? And 10 is all of them, right? It would be embarrassing if it was a small drop in the bucket and that the American people didn't expect that we should negotiate for all their f***ing drugs because we've already paid for them with our subsidies. Are you f***ing saying? Come on! I'll be going to the hospital.
Psycho. Absolute psycho. Well, the announcement of Dan Bongino becoming number 2 at the FBI has CNN triggered as well. CNN panel tries to smear Dan Bongino. Scott Jennings fires back.
Just because he was a police officer doesn't make him qualified to run a 38,000 person, $11 billion budget agency, just like Pete Hegseth.
But you know what does? Because he
National Guardsman or everyone doesn't either. Thank you for your service.
The confidence and the pleasure of the president.
Whose judgment is terrible.
And I'm sorry that you are not yet over the outcome of the election.
No, because look at what's happening to our country. And I'll never be over it, Scott. This is dismantling our democracy in front of our eyes, and you guys are okay with it.
Who had a city that was smaller than the amount of people that live on this block, and he was the Secretary of Transportation. You had the guy who was stealing luggage. I mean, I think anyone who's defending the Biden administration.
But this is the FBI.
So?
Correct.
Yeah, and this is someone who has been career in law enforcement for many years.
Does Dan Bongino have the qualifications to be the second person in charge of the FBI?
Yes, he has law enforcement, he has academic, and again, let me just stress this. I've mentioned this before.
You stack up
they
his
serve at the pleasure of the president. That's the political appointment.
I know that is the answer to every question, is that Donald Trump wants it, so therefore it is good.
For political appointments, yes.
But when we look at, we're talking about people who are qualified and not, and you look at his resume and compare it to Republican and Democrat nominees for that same position, is he qualified?
I mean, first of all, I'm not sure all the people that have been appointed in the past have covered themselves in glory. And some of them have done a terrible job and gotten in lots of trouble.
Look,
and this is a reform-minded administration.
Qualifications. Ironic, isn't it? A bunch of low IQ DEI hires yapping on CNN about who's qualified and who's not. Give me a break. All of a sudden, you people care about qualifications? No, not at all. They fear accountability. That's what they're scared of. No one holds these people accountable. Nobody calls these people out. Nobody puts these people on the spot. Well, now that has completely changed. In this era of Donald Trump in the White House, we are seeing this era of accountability. My name is Drew Hernandez for the Gateway Pundit, and you have been on Watch with Drew Hernandez. I'll see you guys on the next one.